So are we asking you to be less observant? Really, we are. Are we asking you to focus less on what is? What we're really asking you to do is be a little less interested in needing to prove it through your physical senses and a little more willing to feel what's coming through your solar plexus, through your emotional senses. Because, for example, let's say you really could use an extra $100,000. You'd like it now. You'd like it now. Well, it's not likely to fall out of the sky this red hot minute. But you could think about the freedom or the relief that it could give you. You could find the emotional essence of it. You could imagine, if you stay off the subject of how it's going to come and when it's going to come and where it's going to come from and who's going to bring it, if you don't ask those questions that you don't have answers for, I want it, but I don't know where it's going to come from. I really, really want it, but I don't know who's going to bring it or when it's going to get here. But if you could just think about what you want and why you want it. You want to give more airtime, which means more think time, which means more talk time, which means more action time to what you want rather than to where you are. And so you'll get a really powerful sense of the kinds of thoughts and words that you're offering that are hindering the flow that is so natural for you. We want you to know that things are always working out for you. And most of all, we want you to get a really good idea of exactly how it is that you are turning thoughts to things. We want you to get a sense of how you turn the thoughts to things, because you do, and only you do. Your vortex is full of the thoughts and ideas that you have put there through the life experience that you've been living. You have this vibrational reality that is gestating and gathering on your behalf. And so these thoughts will turn to things. And we want to help you get a sense of how that happens. We want you to understand that a vibration can turn to a thought, and that idea, when it manifests as an idea in your mind, you know that, ooh, I know what I want feeling. That's a manifestation. That's evidence that the vibration has been allowed by you to be received with clarity into an idea. And once you get the idea of it, once an idea of desire is born within you, this time-space reality has the wherewithal to deliver it to you in fullness, which means once that idea is received by you, you are well along the way. It's almost done, in fact. Most of you don't realize. You think, oh, I've got an idea of something I want and I'm just starting out because I just got the idea. That's not how it is at all. There was all that life and all that living and all that knowing what you don't want and all that knowing what you do want and all that projecting of these rockets of desires into your vortex and all of that tending to those desires by your inner being and all of that law of attraction bringing cooperative components to that idea and that idea gestating and growing, and then you doing what you do about reaching for thoughts that feel better until you found yourself in vibrational alignment with your own vortex, whether you knew that you were doing it or not, whether it was by default or by deliberate intent. But anyway, you got there and bam, the idea came. Oh, did you hear how much has already happened before that idea comes? Once that idea has occurred with you, 97 or 98% of your creation has already taken place. Really, it's that much. We say that to you just to get your attention also of how much of it is vibrational before it turns to the thing. Before you allow yourself to be the vibrational interpreter or receiver of it, so that you can be in the right place at the right time, so that the ideas flow to you in the perfect timing, so that you recognize the rendezvous when it's there. But if you're in this pessimistic place where things aren't working out for you, if that's what you really believe, and your vortex is gestated and it's showing you this and showing you this and showing you this, and those ideas are ripe and ready for you to receive, but you don't see them because you don't expect them, because you don't believe them, you're not at the right place at the right time, even to see the people that are there to assist you, but you're not at the right place at the right time, even mentally, to receive the idea that is right there, ripe and ready for you to pluck. You sort of get what we're talking about? You must be a vibrational match to your own desire. And oh, the experience, the feeling, the unfolding of you turning thoughts to things, that's the sweet spot that you all came to live. You came into this physical body because you understood that this is the leading edge of thought, not a place that people become physical so that they can prove themselves to non-physical. You're the leading edge of all of this, and all that is non-physical is here flowing forward into this manifestation with you. When thoughts turn to things, that's the ultimate manifestation. That never-ending new idea turning into new experience. It's the evolution of all species. It's where all that is source is focused forward with you. And so you're supposed to be having a really good time here. You're supposed to be in that sweet spot where the idea occurs to you and it gives life to you. Oh, joining forces with your inner being who is already experiencing the fullness of what you are asking for. When you catch a mental whiff of that, and then you don't kill it with your doubt or oppose it with your doubt, but instead you stay there long enough to let the momentum build, and then the next idea comes, and then the next idea, till things are popping. You had those runs, haven't you? Those experiences where it seems that everywhere you turn, there's another piece of it for you. Another piece and another piece and another piece that leads you to this wonderful culmination. But friends, it isn't this wonderful culmination that we're encouraging you to move toward. We want you to get there, we do. But it's the journey toward it that is life, the never-ending journey of the energy popping, of you being there at the right time, of you standing in your physicality and recognizing the co-creative capability that you have with source energy, with the energy that creates worlds. So that you understand that if this time-space reality has caused you to give birth to an idea, this time-space reality has the ability to give you the full manifestation of it. And the trip along the way, as the manifestation is unfolding, is why you came. You came for the thrill of getting in sync with the idea that you gave birth to. Just a few days ago, Esther was sitting in her living room in Texas. And usually she has some chairs that look out to the pool, but they're swivel chairs, and so she really can look anywhere, but she's usually swiveled toward the pool and enjoying what's out there. But on this day, she wanted to put her foot up on the table, and there were so many little knickknacks on the table in front of her that the only clear spot was sit in this chair so that she could put her foot up. So she was facing in the room a direction she usually doesn't look. And she saw, again, a beautiful quartz wall. It's a sort of dry stack look. And the light was shining down on it from the ceiling, and it was so beautiful. And she just sat there and felt, satisfaction about it. So beautiful, indescribable, really. More beautiful she was feeling than her eyes thought it deserved to feel. She's been in that house for years, and she's seen that wall many, many times. But on this particular day, it was shining so bright, and she was feeling it so strong. And then she just relaxed into it as an awareness came over her. And she remembered how that thing had evolved, how that manifestation had come about. She remembered the idea that she and Jerry had one day when they were in the house, and there weren't any walls, there were studs, and they were talking about what the interior of the house would look like. And they were talking about how much they like that dry stack look, the rocks that are stacked this way, and they're all uneven, and they make nice shadows so that when light shines on them, it's really interesting. And so they went to a rock quarry west of San Antonio, and they picked out what they thought were the perfect rocks. And then they got in their bus and they went off for a few months. And meanwhile, the contractor gathered a big pile of those rocks, and he built a sort of sample wall for them. And a few months later, they came back and they looked at it and they didn't like it at all. It was kind of muddy looking, not very interesting, and much too rough and crude. And then they looked around some more and they found some other rocks that were a little more fine in texture that might be better, and a little thinner too. And then they got in their bus and they went off for another few months, and the contractor brought the rocks back out to the house and built another sample wall, and a few months later they came back and looked at it and they didn't like it either. It wasn't quite right. It wasn't the right color. It wasn't the right texture. It was too coarse for the interior of their house. And so now they're in Boston and they're at a restaurant, and as they're sitting in the restaurant, Jerry looked up and he said, "Esther, look at that wall behind you." Esther looked at it and she said, "Oh my, that is exactly what we're talking about. Maybe different color, but that's the idea." And it turned out it wasn't rock at all. It was tile made to simulate rock, but it was so beautiful. And so the manager gave them the contractor's name, and they found out where that had come from, and they contacted, and then they were able to find the color that was perfect for their experience. And now the contractor did a lot of work in the months that they were gone, and when they came back there, that tile was all on the wall, and it is perfect. And now Esther is sitting there, and she's looking at that culmination, but it's not just what's standing there that is thrilling her. It's everything that came before. It's all of the ideas. It's all of the fun. It was all of the co-creation. And it was all of the conversations with the contractor. This lovely man who is willing to do anything. Build it up, tear it down, build it up, tear it down, build it up, tear it down, build it up, tear it down. Whatever you want, whatever you want. Because you create your own reality, yes, and it should be exactly as you want it to be. And so, as Esther is now experiencing the culmination of that magnificent wall, it is so much more than just looking at a wall. That's why you create your own reality. That's why you want to be in on it. And it doesn't matter if it's a rock wall or if it's a relationship that you're building. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything that is exciting to you. We just want you to know that the reason that your life thrills you so is because you're in on every single bit of it. And we want you to understand that that's how your inner being, that which you want to call God, that which we call source energy, that's how all of us feel about where you stand right now. You're that magnificently completed, so to speak, rock wall who so much came before you stand there in all of the beautiful continuing unfolding that is you. You're never finished, and Source never stops delighting in whatever point that you're at this moment in time. You sort of kind of getting what we're talking about? Oh, to understand that everything is gravitating around the thoughts that you offer, and then to begin offering them on purpose. Jerry and Esther never for a moment thought that they weren't going to find the perfect wall. They knew for sure because they had a sense of how they wanted it to look and feel. They didn't know where it was going to come from or who was going to bring it or how they were going to get it or how much it was going to cost. A lot, by the way. They didn't know. They didn't know. They just knew what they wanted in terms of how they wanted it to feel. They knew how they wanted the light to bounce off of it. They knew what they wanted to feel like. They knew they wanted it to be clean. They knew that they didn't want it to have big holes in it where bugs could live. They knew they had so many things that were already in their vortex. They knew what they wanted. When you know what you want, you know when you're seeing something that you don't want, and other way around. When you see what you don't want, you know what you want. This is how you sift and sort it all together. We just want you to understand unequivocally, undeniably, that if this time-space reality has caused you to desire it, it can deliver it. And it can deliver it under all of the terms that are important to you, because everything that matters to you, you have put into your vortex. We just want you to be more expectant of the outcomes that you want. But even more than that, we want you to enjoy the outcoming. We want you to enjoy the process of the unfolding. Because once you get it done, once that wall is finished, while there is plenty of appreciation, what really rings your bells is the next and the next and the next and the next and the next. You are in the process of constant unfolding. And in your physical form, you keep thinking you want to get it done because you're not doing it so much through energy as you are through hard action. And when you're trying to build your walls through action rather than through energy first, yeah, a lot of action involved in all of that in the story that we just offered you. But it was the vibrational essence of the thought that carried it to the perfection. And so there's not enough action in the world to compensate for vibration that is in contradiction to itself. So the lining up of your vibration gives you the ease of unfolding that you're wanting. So when we say, you create your own reality, and that you never get it done. Sometimes humans who are counting on the action part of their life to get it done aren't enjoying it because the action is hard. The action is too hard. The action doesn't have enough leverage. You're not allowing enough of a non-physical intervention and assistance. So if you're counting on action to get it done, and some smart aleck ghost like Abraham says to you, you never get it done, you say, oh, yeah, I never get it done. When do I get to rest? And we say, you don't want to rest when energy's flowing through you. You don't want to rest. You want to romp. You don't want to rest when ideas are popping. You don't want to rest when things are going your way. You don't want to rest when you're in the flow of this energy and the entire universe is cooperating with you. You don't want to rest. You want to stand up and look and decide and flow and feel. Yes?